You are a creator. You create your career, your business. You create a family. You create your future. On the Results Driven Life by Design broadcast, get ready to hear from people from all walks of life and how they overcame the odds to create a life led by purpose and vision. Here's your host, Arian.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to today's broadcast. I always begin by reminding you that your skills, your experiences, and your talents have been given to you for a reason. No one else has that unique combination, and no one else has your voice. You have a message that the world needs to hear. So, as you listen to today's broadcast, I invite you to a greater vision for your life that resonates beyond what you do, but why you do it. Now, on today's show, I have a longtime client of mine who came to me through the Dan Kennedy world. His name is Derrick Pickett. He is a serial entrepreneur. And when I met him, he had two businesses and he wanted to improve his branding. He wanted to get things fixed up and looking better. And I sensed that he had a very intuitive sense of brand identity, personal brand development. And when I met with him, he showed me the message that he was carrying through the work that he was doing. And at that time, it was credit repair. And I found it to be a very inspiring message in that he wasn't just doing credit repair, but he was helping people really rise up from a tough time in their life and to see themselves differently, which part of it was repairing their credit. But the bigger part was really stepping into a life that they were meant to live. I was inspired by that message. And so took him on as a client, loved the work that we did together. We created this magnificent shock and awe box, which I'm going to ask him about. And from there, he just took off. He took that and he continued to build businesses and do different things and continue to impact people with the work that he was doing. So we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to find out what he's doing today. Every now and then he'll send me a message over email thanking me for the box that I sent him, the shock and awe box that I sent him, that inspired him to do something similar. And it just set him on a trajectory. And he says, it changed my life. So that's what we all love to hear in the work that we do. So Derrick, welcome. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Kia. Once again, first of all, thank you for inviting me. And, when I reached out the other week, I was just, I read one of your emails and I read emails, but not that much. But every time I open up one of yours, it seems like it touches a part of me that makes me, hey, got to go on, see what the end going to be. And I said, let me call her and tell her because the things you've done for me have been so amazing. And, people just don't understand. If they would just invest a little bit more money in themselves, they'll be a whole lot further in life. Yeah.
I love that. If they would just, not just money, but just invest a little in themselves, they would really who else are you going to invest in? Right. And you really did that. When you came, you already had some really good material. Like the content was really good. You had a testimonial book for your credit repair. You had some brochures. There was a few other items you had and a book. You had a book that you had written called Believe in Yourself or Bet on Yourself. And you wanted us to fix it, to give you a nice brand. And Derrick, I still use those book covers as examples and people still they're like, that's the cover I want.
Oh, wow.
Because it's such a powerful brand builder, personal brand builder, not just in how it looks, but the title, the message. And again, you yourself had this intuitive sense of, I need to position myself. Tell the listeners kind of briefly about your journey. So you started with kind of consulting credit repair. Can you tell us your journey to date, what you're doing now? And then I'm going to ask you some other questions, background questions.
Okay. Yeah. So I had some situation in my life and I had where I wasn't able to, I had went to a hard point in my life and I wasn't able to, I had a lot of things. Like after the 2008, everybody lost everything to crash. And I had gave a young lady my information for some credit. And she started like most people start off good. And then after a while, she went bad. And then I had turned my sister on, my friends, all that. I paid for it. And I lost money. So at that point, I said, man, I had to learn how to do it myself. And when I learned how to do it myself, it kind of turned into something that turned into like from a little hobby into something that turned to something major after I started getting, good results. And, moving forward after that, during the pandemic came, credit repair had got kind of like mixed up and I ended up going into, the biggest thing out there was like selling toilet tissue. So it's like everybody we weren't out of toilet tissue. It was just the point that all the kids weren't in school anymore. So all the tissue they had at the school, they had to take it home. So yeah, that's what a guy told me at a tissue manufacturer. He said, so we weren't short. It's just everybody acting like they were running out of tissue. And so I had a client, he actually traded me to fix his credit, and he gave me some tissue and paper towel. And I actually started that way. And so I was selling, they were telling everybody to stay home, and I was out being adventurous. And I went out and I was selling tissue the same price I sell at the store. And I really like turned from having a 10 by 10 storage to 20 by 40 storages. And then now I'm in a 7,000 square foot warehouse.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So you started in credit repair because you did it for yourself and your family. Well, first you trusted people who failed you and you lost money on it. And then you're like, I can figure this out. So you figured it out yourself because you got in a bad situation. Credit was shot, fixed it yourself, helped your family, and then you started helping other people. So that was business number one. Yeah. Then, but there was something else that you did before the COVID stuff. You were also involved in promotional products, because when we made your shock and awe box for you, like, you exploded it. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So yeah, like, as a little kid, I never forget, I think the one commercial I saw one time, it was an Adidas commercial. I saw that, it's something about that commercial that made me just want to get into advertising marketing. And I just started going to trade shows about marketing and advertising. I would always spend so much money on advertising and branding. I mean, I've done like hair magazines, I've done all types of stuff, but I just knew that this world is built off marketing and advertising, even with the Super Bowl and everything else. It was always based on how you could sell people. And I've always read motivational books and self-help. And but I wanted to have another way, another level to reach the people. And that's why when I came to you, I had somebody who was doing better than me. And I heard about this thing called the shock and awe package. I mean, I heard him talk about it, but to see it in full effect was different when I saw yours. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about that, because more than once you've emailed me, you responded to one of my emails, and you're like, thank you. You changed my life with that shock and awe box. Tell me what happened.
So, like, when I first got the box, it was just a big bulky box coming. And when it came, I was like, okay, what's this? Because you have the Dan Kennedy method down packed. You keep the anticipation waiting. I got to set an appointment. So I was like, man, I said, this lady must be real busy. I said, I can't get to, I'm just waiting. And, before I got to talk to you, you sent me this amazing box. It was like just a box, and it had like your books and all that. But I looked at that box and I was like, I made a video that day. I was like, man, this is the type of box I want. This is what I want to do to get when I market my business. And then I read about it. I said, okay. And I called, and he called me, and I was like, okay. And you had sold me on it just by what you did. Like, it's simple now. Like, even today, I haven't sent out any good box in a while. I'm just kind of like, I ran out. I'm going to China to get something cheaper. But like, when I send people a package and it's got a box or something, it has like it might just be a book and a ball or something, a stress ball. I promise you, like, I close them like 90% of the time. And just even like from what you did, the credit person charges between $100 a month. Someone charge $500, but my average client starts at $3,000.
Wow.
And I learned that just because of having this box, I know if you're on the edge, when I send it to you, you're gonna be like, man, I got to go with this. This man really believes in himself. It's like walking into a high-end luxury store and they look like, oh wow, I've never seen this. Only celebrities do this. So it took me to a level that I could never imagine, and people just don't understand. Yeah, I'm something that I always remember, like graduation, because they'll never get a gift like that unless it comes from me.
That's right. It was a truly, like, you've masterfully positioned yourself within your market as the one who's going to help them, pull them out of this pit of debt that they're in, right? Like, I'm like, embellishing here, right? That's marketing, right? Pull them out and put them to the place where they saw you. That box was spectacular. Like, we had our way to, and I'll try to add I have a picture of it actually. I'll add it to the broadcast. But we were like, okay, we do a corrugated box and we do this and that. No, you went out and you got embossed, blind embossed, like you got matte, glossy finish, magnetic. You stuck a video brochure when you open it. It's just like, there's Derrick talking to you. And there was just like some really nice swag in there. And you were part of the promotional industry. So you were able to get all kinds of, branded stuff to put it in there. I mean, it truly was oh my goodness, I have this picture that you sent me. I'll show those, where I've got like I still have my Believe in Yourself cap, actually. Believe in Yourself. I wear it. I have the Believe in Yourself shirt that you sent me.
Oh, wow.
And the socks. On the bottoms of the socks, it says Believe in Yourself. And so it was really spectacular. So you really did invest in yourself, because you're a walking embodiment of that message, which is just believe in yourself and invest in yourself. And so, okay, so you did that shock and awe box, took it, like, skyrocketed it. Do you still have your credit repair business, or are you're doing something else now?
Yeah, I do. It's kind of like crazy. I don't know if a lot of people never seen I don't know if you know about Prince, but you ever seen the movie Purple Rain?
Oh,
So Purple Rain,
he
you
was
seen?
my first concert.
Oh
Prince,
wow,
he is
wow.
like truly royalty in my eyes in terms of talent, artistry. Like he left this world
Yeah,
way too soon, but I'm sure he is rocking it in heaven, and I can't wait to see him.
yeah, I
But go
know,
on. I
right?
love
So,
that. I love Prince and his music.
but
Go on.
with Prince the movie, I watched the movie Prince one time, and I remember the time and when his dad had shot himself, and he went back and he went in the basement, and he went in that basement and he just started throwing stuff around and looking around and seeing what all he had, and he found all kind of stuff, all kind of music he didn't know he had. So I just recently started back in getting the credit repair. I've been so busy with the pallet business, but within the last few months, I just amped it up and got it going. But when I went in my house and I started looking on my shelf, I saw where I had ordered like 1,000 books from back in COVID. I had like all my brochures, all my pamphlets. I had all these items, and I was like, wow. So I just went out and I started going out and I like just started handing out my books. And when people see this, like just like this just a simple pamphlet. What's amazing about this is before they open it up, they can feel the raised print. And they were like, "Oh man," he said, "You really got some good stuff. You got you do some money." And then we open it up. I got my Power Belief book, which you designed, which is a whole lot better than when I had these. Oh, this one right here. It didn't give me no kind of You did the front and the back. This is my first time doing a book cover outside of doing something on like Fiverr or something. And then you designed the insert for the booklet, which helps out a whole lot. And then you gave me this amazing testimonial success. Like this really tells the story. So this is like I gotta get you to do me an e-zine too, because I've been just debating, but I need to do one because I know that helped me, like a book about me. But you open it up, it's all evergreen. Every time I show it to somebody, they look at it and they be like, "Oh man, this is so nice. This is professional," and this seals the deal. So, like after I've been going out, so I recently started like a car lot business. So I mean a rental car business. So I used my good credit and I went out and I got like 7 cars for my niece to her to start a business. And when I go out, I go to all the car dealers because I went in, I had an 800 some score, and I went in, I was like, "Man, I'm the credit guru. I changed lives." And then when I pass them this, and then I mess around and I give them my, I got a poker chip. When I give my poker chip, what I'm saying, I tell them to bet on this stuff. When I give them this book right here, 9 times out of 10, I charge $100 for consultation. A lot of times they bite it and they go with it. So this is what made me get back into credit, and literally like it's like wildfire. It's like reignited again. Like I'm in a whole new space, and I'm in a place. Even when I had a point where I was doing credit and it wasn't working as well, I get a chance to go back and I can go back and pick those people up and redeem them. Say, "Hey, I got you. Come on back over here." And that's the difference that I feel like that's what makes me last because I care. And I don't want to be the guy who's the cheapest and I get your money and then you go to automated service. I want to be able to pick up the phone, "Hey, how you doing?" And I got you. So that's a good thing about it. But yeah, I'm full speed in the credit space. I was doing pallets for a minute and I still do it. I got a course coming out. But now when I do my course, I'm gonna be able to go in and talk about the credit because you're gonna need credit in order to buy pallets and stuff like that. So in lieu of all that, I was looking at promotional items and all that kind of stuff, and I was actually trying to get into a new venture of like selling fireworks. I was going to do fireworks because people sell fireworks that make millions of dollars a year and only work like 4 weeks. So what I was going to do is I was going to go over to China and I was going to go look for fireworks. But then when I found a trip to go to China for like 3 weeks, it's a big old fair like the Canton Fair. So it's like going to be like 35,000 vendors over there. And they have all kind of things from hardwood to clothes to shoes, household. You're talking about homes, you're talking about bottles, anything over there. So I'm going over there, so I'll be the plug. So if anybody needs a marketing idea, and I was really getting deals when I was doing my promotional items through my promotional company, but now I'm getting like directly where they get them from. So I'm really going to be able to give out. Like I was paying socks. I was paying for $2 for a pair of socks. Now I might pay 20 cents. Everybody around me going to have on my socks. They're going to be walking around with Gotta Believe. And I'll be able to do my hoodies and I'm going to get my clothing line because I wear at least 10,000 shirts and hoodies and everybody just wear them all over the world.
Yep. Yep. I'm still wearing the hoodie. I'll show you. Not the hoodie, the cap, and have the t-shirt. And it's a nice t-shirt. It's actually one of the softest t-shirts I have.
yeah. Everybody loves my shirts. I buy a Bella shirt, but the shirt costs about $5 by itself. But I pass out $5-10 every day. Every time I give you something, those shocking out boxes cost way over $100. But it gets the clientele though. I mean, you can get 30 times your return on it. You good.
It does. That's incredible. And I love how, so you started with the credit repair, then you got into the promotional business because you love marketing, advertising, and you understood the power of positioning and brand development. Like you truly have an intuitive sense for that. And that served you so well. Then you got into the toilet paper business, selling toilet paper.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
from
yeah, toilet paper, yeah.
and then because you were storing your toilet paper in storage units, then you got into the pallet flipping business, like right, like
Right. Mhm.
and so and then now you oh wait, I lost track. Now you're going back into your credit. There was something else you did in between. Oh, your car lot. So now you're buying cars with
Yeah,
your credit, but now that's just a way for you to help people improve their credit
yeah,
because usually people who don't have a lot of credit will go to used car lots who will like give you 30%
yeah,
loans, right?
yeah, yeah,
30%
right.
interest rate loans. And then now you realize, wait, the credit repair truly is what is changing lives and
Yes,
going back to that and rediscovering that. And I love that. And your whole message of really bet on yourself and believe in yourself is throughout all of it, which is what you
right,
really are walking, living example of that. So congratulations.
right.
Really deserves to be acknowledged for that. Let me ask you this. So a
Thank you.
lot of success. So happy for you. So glad to be able to be a part of that in that journey. Tell me, what was the biggest flop in this journey?
I think the biggest flop was probably when I had COVID for credit because everybody credit was messed up. Couldn't nobody pay their bills and wasn't nobody working. So the biggest flop is when I couldn't produce and do what I usually do and get good results. And as a result, it made my credit business like go all the way down to the ground. Like, and then, when nobody really talking about credit because when nobody getting results, most people used to getting like results in 10 days, 5 days, 30 days. It was taking 2, 3 months and we didn't have nobody to regulate it. But, you can turn lemons into lemonade. So that got me into, I call it, my dad told me, so, my son, he knows how to adjust. So if it gets too cold, I put on a coat. If it gets too hot, I take off my clothes. So I adjusted and I went and found something else. But one thing I've been selling candy since I was in high school. I'm a salesman, so I can sell anything. So I just found the right product and I sold it. And the great thing about it is that like once you got a skill or something that they can't take it away. So that was a good thing about the marketing of the credit that those people have my books and boxes. They talk about what I did for them and they talk about it every time I say, oh, I did it. And then people like, it's a cycle. Some people might call me like, everybody's calling me now. Everybody, my old customers. I'm trying to do this, trying to do that, and I can go back and help them. I feel like a doctor. You just got to keep taking care of them when they come in and visit.
Mhm. You
Yeah,
have a natural mentor energy to you where even like when you speak to people, you're always going back to that mindset. Like you're always, like what you just said about, what your dad tells you and what you've done. So that's what, we talk a lot about. You and I both come from the Dan Kennedy world, right? That's how you found me. You saw
right,
one of
right.
Dan Kennedy's sales letters and my information was on the back and you're like, "Oh, I like this layout and design." You contacted me and the rest was history. Um,
Mm,
and Dan Kennedy, one of his signature products is the magnetic marketing. And
yep, I got it right there.
magnetic marketing, that's
Yep,
it.
I got it right there. So yeah,
And so the key and so I interviewed Dan Kennedy recently on my podcast, which will be published very soon. Probably it will have been published by the time this is published. And we talk about in one part of the interview, we talk about the idea of being magnetic and how are you even what makes a person magnetic? And what we kind of landed on, or at least what I believe, and I don't think, and he didn't disagree, is being authentic, not necessarily following the rules, but being authentic to who you are and bringing in that personal brand, like what makes Derrick Derrick, what makes Kia Kia, and incorporating that into your business and the work that you do. Um, that's what makes you magnetic. But what happens is a lot of people are they're very hesitant to put that out about themselves. And some people have to work harder at it. Some people it's a little more natural. I think it's very natural for you. I find it's natural for me. I can't not be
yeah,
authentic. I just have to bring in the personal stuff.
yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on that? What is it that you think draws people to you aside from where you're going to help them, elevate their life? What is it that what do your clients love about doing business with you, or working with you?
I think one of the most interesting things is like I'm on social media all the time, and I do credit and I do all that, but I'm never trying to sell. Like I literally just wake up every day and I'm like, I want to encourage the people. It's kind of like I'm preaching online, but I'm not preaching. I'm just telling everybody, you got to believe. And even when I get out there and I tell them, it's like then they start becoming your friend, and then they know that you're real about what you do. So I think that my positive attitude is the one thing that you can't upset me. You can't make me not believe that something good is going to happen because I've always saw some light at the end of the tunnel. And it's, evident that, a lot of people out here look strong, but they ain't strong. A lot of people not mentally, like you have to be real tough and real resilient in business. And a lot of people don't make it. And I'm just glad that I made it. And I just have to try to encourage somebody because we all have a low point, and that low point is the story that we go to tell everybody about how we made it. Even Dan Kennedy, when I was reading Dan Kennedy's book, I was actually sitting in prison in a cell. And I saw the book and I read it and I wrote the man and I told him, hey man, I want to come home and blah, blah, blah. I came home. When I came home from prison, it was kind of crazy how I wrote my first book. I ran into a guy, I can't think of his name right now, but I was in the halfway house and they had a seminar in Atlanta, and I snuck to Atlanta to a seminar just to see Dan and them. And then when I snuck there, I met this guy, and I was like a month out from getting out the halfway house. And the guy told me, he was like, man, you can write a book, because I wanted to write a book. He said, that's easy. He challenged me to write a book within a month, and he'll give me like 2 hours of free coaching. And I wrote that. I went on Fiverr. He told me what to do, and I wrote the book within like 3 weeks. And I had my book before I came home, and that was my first session with Dan. It just taught me about the magnetic marketing. And I used to read about. He says, always write a book. And to this day, I probably sold 500 books, but I probably gave out 10,000. And I literally just give out my book because if it's nice and pretty and shiny, they're gonna pick it up, and eventually one day they'll read it and then they'll believe. And and I think you had a conversation when you was talking about it, actually what the meaning was. And I always use Mark 9:23-24. And then we always talk about, he said Jesus was saying all things are possible to him that believe. But then we went and put, you helped me, and we went in and put Mark 24. And I think we put and we was talking about the man, his son was sick or dying. And he said, he told Jesus, Lord, I believe, but help my unbelief. And that's the problem with a lot of people in life. We believe for a second, but when the storms come, we don't keep believing. So we got to have somebody help our unbelief. So I'm here to help the people who have unbelief. Just like I had a client yesterday, actually like one of my family members, but like he's been like just in the streets all his life, just doing his thing, you know what I'm saying? And I've been talking about his credit, and I fixed his credit, built his credit up, and did what I had to do. And he actually walked in the bank yesterday, and he got like a $14,000 credit card, and he got like a $20,000 personal loan. And that was just from the first place. But it's just like a person who's never even entered in that world can come in and start that high. It gave him a sense of confidence. He's like, man, he says it's all up from here. So that's my magnetism. I just don't give up no matter what.
I love that. And there's something that you said that, in fact, I was thinking about this yesterday, how, I believe, but help my unbelief. And here's what I was thinking. I was thinking that people who are very growth minded, right? They'll read the books, they'll go to the seminars, they want to grow. And I work with a lot of these people through my work, right? People come to me because they want to go from here to here. They want to grow their business and their brand. And what I find 80-90% of the time, it's not the things that they're doing that is like they're doing all the right things, but they're not recognizing the things that are blocking them. And so, I was thinking yesterday, if only they would just stop the frenetic activity of let's do this, let's do that, let's do that, and recognize the blocks that are in front of them, which are sometimes as like straightforward as the limiting beliefs. I don't think I deserve this. What happens if I fail? Like these are limiting beliefs that keep them from moving forward. And what you're saying is the unbelief, right? So you can believe all you want, but if you don't deal with the two unbeliefs, such as, I don't deserve this, I'm going to fail, I'm going to lose this. If you don't deal with the unbelief part, you can do all the activity you want. You're never going to push through. So I think that's so key. And it's so funny that I was thinking about that too. And here you are saying that people need to deal with their unbelief. They need to deal with their limiting beliefs of why they can't before they can move forward to why they can.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah. So I think that's really amazing. So let me ask you this. Here's a question that, you're one of the people, you're a serial entrepreneur. You love to sell, about brand development, about positioning, market positioning. So these part of it's intuitive, part of it is you have to, you have to cultivate those skills. Like just because you intuitively know them doesn't mean that you're going to, be successful at them. You got to do the work to refine them and make the right decisions to, what to do next and so forth. But let me ask you this question. If you could step back, let's step back a minute. If you could be free from the day-to-day of the work that you're currently doing, and there was zero loss of quality in your work, relationship, and your finances, what would you do with your time?
I would travel the world. I would travel the world and just get new experiences and go around and see all the cultures. Because I think a lot of people in life are just we're so limited with where we're at. That's all we see. Until you go out there and see so many people doing so many things, making money in so many different ways that, you know, it'll blow your mind. I love traveling. That's why I'm so excited about going to China, because I'm going in a whole nother world where you got billions of people and all of them over there hustling, all of them trying to make money, and they're way cheaper than us. But a lot of people just say it's too much competition. You can't do it. It's oversaturated. So yeah, I would travel the world, and I would just want to go see what all this world has to offer, because that's why a lot of people just don't do anything in life, because they only seen one thing. And I was told by a guy one time, I was getting ready to go to over across the border. I think I was in San Diego or something. And the guy was like, I want to go over there. I heard this, I heard that, blah, blah, blah. And I went over there and I ate some street food and had a good time. And I came back, my mentor, God bless him, Tony Hurt, he's gone now, but he said, stop asking people for directions who ain't never been nowhere. And so, I can't ask nobody about going and get some stuff designed by you if they ain't never seen a Dan Kennedy something, or they ain't never seen the power of how it goes or how you set it up and get that brand together. I went to a man who was successful, made millions, had his time allocated. And then when you showed me the box, I said, you showed me you've been there. The box was amazing. I was like, man, I got to figure this out. And I had to stop it, and I had to try to top it, because you had it together.
Well, you did it in the way that you did it. You brought your brand, your message, and your style to it, which is the whole reason we exist, but this business exists, is that you've got a message that the world needs to hear, and there are people who can only hear it through Derrick, right? I could say the same thing and it falls flat, but you say it in the way that you say it, with the stories that you have and the background that you have, and just even the tempo and the cadence of your voice and the frequency of your voice, it lands in the way it's supposed to land. And that's people don't pay attention to that. And I think that's so important. That's amazing. So you're going to China. What else is on your list to travel to? What do you?
I probably while I'm over there, I'll probably just find some other little cities, maybe like Thailand, Bangkok, something like that. I definitely want to go to Hawaii. I want to go to Bali, Maldives. I want to see the clear blue water. I want to go to Egypt and see the pyramids. I want to go and see some stuff that's you wonder how, you got to be like, it's got to be a God the way this stuff is set up, because ain't no way in the world a man can do this. So I want to go see the 7 wonders of the world. But that's my goal. End goal, just travel around the world. I read astrology. They say I'm a 5 life path. So my life path says I love to travel. So,
well, that's terrific. And I think that that's where you're going to meet the rest of the people who you're meant to impact, or meant to impact you. How many people came into your life? That guy who challenged you to write a book, or your mentor. We don't realize the impact that we have on people, but we have to believe that we do, right? You got to believe, because if you don't believe that, why do you get up in the morning?
Yeah, no reason at all. Yeah. And then I was telling my story. Another thing I'll tell you, I have a book that I wrote. We have this right here. I've been in packaging a long time. I did this back in 2001 or 2. This is a hair magazine I did. I had an idea. I want to do a hair magazine. So it was Cooler magazine, and it's a double-sided. And I opened it up. I was the author of it. Even came with advertising. I had like a pull-out poster in here that comes out. And I even had advertising for I was doing a plastic business card. I had a slip, like I had a real magazine. But this book here, when I was out first and I was out advertising, it's a story here I wanted to share that kind of shares my impacts, and kind of want to share with you so your readers can know. And this is how I feel about you when I did it. So it says, why is it? So if you read it, okay, he said, why is it? A man wakes up in the morning after sleeping on an advertised bed in advertised pajamas. He would bathe in an advertised tub, wash with an advertised soap, shave with an advertised shaver, and have advertised juice, cereal, and toasted in an advertised toaster, and put on an advertised clothes, and then glance in at an advertised watch. He would ride in an advertised car, sit in an advertised desk, then smoke advertised cigarettes, and write with an advertised pen. Yet this man hesitates to advertise, saying that advertising does not pay. Finally, when his unadvertised business goes under, he advertises it for sale. Don't let this happen to you. So that is why they need to deal with you, because if you don't advertise with Kia, you're gonna be advertising your business for sale. So our whole life is based off advertising marketing. This is way back in 2000, and that's something I had in these books. I ordered like 10,000 people. I still got a bunch of them, but it's evergreens. Do whatever. It's real pretty. But this is why, I feel like they need to come to you and do what you do, because I promise you, if y'all go with Kia, she gonna change your life. I promise she gonna give you some stuff that I'll tell you. I mean, she ain't the cheapest, but she the best. That's why you don't go to Walmart. That's why you go to Nordstrom, Neiman's. You go to people gonna care. It's gonna be quality. And it's gonna last for years and years. You know what I'm saying? I wear polo shirts sometimes because I know polo gonna last than a USA polo because I know the materials are better. So that's what I'm gonna say about the advertising part. I just want to put that in. I thought about that when I was talking about other ventures I did.
That's brilliant. Well, that was brilliant what you said. And I appreciate the promotion and the kind words. And, it's like Dan Kennedy says, everything is marketing. What you do is just 10%.
Yep.
You are
That's
in
true.
the business of you
Yep.
and promoting you with no shame because that's your duty because of
Yep.
what you're offering, Derrick, what
Yes.
I'm offering, Kia, that is life-changing. We've got a duty to put it out there. And there's no false humility about that.
No.
I want to make a comment about something that I think is important. And then I have one more question to ask you, and then we're going to get you connected with the readers and how they can connect with you. You said that you raised your price when you started. Like people pay $100, $200, $500 for credit repair. You charge up to $3,000 a month. I don't. Our shock and awe boxes, they start at about $300 a box, right? Soup to nuts. Here's what the thing is: when you are providing, when you know what you do, and the way that you do it does make a difference. And a lot of people, they're not able to recognize that, and that's part of how we help people recognize their genius, their superpower.
Right.
When you're able to fully step into that, you have a duty to charge for that and to charge premium because money is currency and there's an exchange that happens. So when I pay you or you pay me currency, there's an electricity, there's an electrical exchange, an energy, a currency that runs between you and me and the value that is exchanged. And the wider the currency, the bigger the investment, the bigger the bandwidth for that energy exchange, right? That's why it's called currency.
Yeah.
So if you're not charging, you're doing a disservice to the people that you're helping because you're inviting them to really invest and to change their lives for them. I'm getting to preach mode because I really believe in this stuff. I know you believe in this stuff. We really what I really want to, I want the listeners to know is that you really have gifts that the world needs and that you're here to make a difference. Find someone who can help you discover them. You had that guy that was in the halfway house. You were in the halfway house, challenged you. That started you off. I have people that help me. Like I have people that I'm helping find that person that's going to ignite that fire in you to be that person. So thank you for saying that. And I just really appreciate how you are just walking that every day for the people in your life. So let me ask you this. And then and then share with us how people can connect with you and stay connected with you, get your resources and the messages that you have. Tell me what advice you would give your younger self.
My younger self, I would say do it earlier. Don't wait till the time is right and don't ask too many opinions. Because if you got a gift and a burning desire inside of you, there's nothing no one can do to take it away. And there's so many people out there who look like they got it together and they're really just like empty shells. And you got more substance than these people. And that, God gonna elevate you when it's your time. You just have to be patient and go through and learn the lessons. Yeah.
That's so good. That's so good. And that's it reminds me of what Dan said. He said it in the Dan way. I love that you said, don't ask too many opinions because there are people out there who are empty shells. Here's how Dan said it. I'm surrounded by idiots.
Yep.
So he said, you're truly surrounded by idiots. You've got more to yourself than you realize you do. And don't ask anybody's opinion. They're not qualified. Just do what you've been called to do. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Derrick, how do people connect with you? How can they stay in touch and get your resources?
I'm on social media platforms. Right now I'm on my platform with Pallet. It's called Pallet Money, PalletMoney. Also on Facebook, it's Derrick Pickett, DRRICK I can be reached, as my great marketing says, 678-592-1624. I can be reached by email, info@derrickpickett.com. I'm also on Instagram at Pallet Money. And that's it. Or call Kia. I'm sure she'll get to you and tell you where. If you want to reach Kia, call. If you want to reach Kia, call me. I mean, I'll tell her. And I always read her emails because they'll change your life.
Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. Derrick, thank you so much for coming on. It's just such a fun conversation. And thank you to the listeners who've stayed till the end. I hope you have, because it's just a great way to just start your day. And thank you for tuning in to my listeners. And again, my name is Kia Arian, reminding you once again that your skills and your talents have been given to you for a reason. There are people who stand to benefit from what you offer, and there are others who you're not called to help. Focus on the former group. They're waiting for you.
If you enjoyed this broadcast, subscribe to the show, connect with Kia on LinkedIn, and let her know what inspired you. This broadcast was brought to you by Zine, a marketing and brand development agency that helps attorneys, entrepreneurs, and professional service providers create raving clients who love them, stay with them, and tell others about them. Visit zinemarketing.com/newsletter to sign up and receive the Breathe Life newsletter, a print publication of Zine.